How's it going? Today I want to discuss one of my favorite locality boas, that is the Tarahumara mountain dwarf boa. I feel that these are one of the most underrated boa localities available in captivity, and they're the perfect snake for the reptile keeper that doesn't have a lot of space. I'm going to show you some nice examples from my collection, and I'll also go into the natural history and the husbandry of the Tarahumara boas. I'm Brian. I'm a breeder of boa constrictors, and if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the Brian Boas YouTube channel for more videos on all aspects of keeping and breeding boa constrictors in captivity. The number one characteristic that differentiates the Tarahumara boa is its small size. It's the smallest form of boa constrictor. This is an adult female. She's about 10 years old, and she's a little over 4 feet in length. This girl has actually had a couple litters previously. The other characteristic are the beautiful dark colors. You can see these shades of black and a lot of different browns, some mochas and caramel, and lots of nice different shades. They often will have a lot of pink as well, as this adult female has some pink scales. And then the babies and subadults will often even have this bluish coloration. So they're a very beautiful boa to look at. In addition, they have this characteristic dark head stamp. So you can see the dark markings on her head that characterize the Tarahumara boa. The Tarahumara mountain dwarf boas are found in northwest Mexico in the states of Chihuahua and Sonora. And they live in these mountains at about a mile or so above sea level, in these small fragments of forest that occur at the higher elevations. So most of the area is desert, but at higher elevations you have a forest habitat where these boas can live. It's a colder climate than most boas live in. In fact, there can even be snow sometimes in the winter. So these animals have evolved to be more tolerant of the cold. It might be why they have this dark color, because it absorbs more heat. And so as a result of this, they're very hardy and easy to keep in captivity. These animals first became available to keepers in the early 2000s. A breeder named Gus Renfro bred them and established a line of them in captivity. And since then, a small number of dedicated breeders has sustained these animals in captivity, so they'll be available for future generations of herpetoculturalists. Now I want to show you some of my immature holdback animals to give you an idea of the size and growth potential of these Tarahumara boas. This is a 2017 holdback male, so he's about 2.5 years old. His size right now is not quite 3 feet long, somewhere between 2.5 and 3 feet. One thing that you can notice is that as babies and juveniles, the color is a little lighter. It darkens as they get older. And so you can see he hasn't quite attained the really dark coloration of the adult female I just showed you. You can also see he has more of the pink and even a little bit of a blue tint to his coloration. So a very beautiful animal to look at. So I'm keeping these 2.5-year-old holdbacks in a rack system. I keep them in 28-quart tubs. So this is the tub size. It's approximately 23 inches by 16 inches. And I imagine this guy will be okay in that tub for probably about another year or so, and then I'll move him into his adult housing. He's currently eating large adult mice. This guy probably could handle a small rat. He'll probably be moved up to the small rats maybe this spring. And I feed this guy currently about once every 3 weeks, although right now is the winter fasting, and so he's not eating for about 2 months. There's another holdback who's a year younger than the male I just showed you. This is a 2018 baby who's about 1.5 years old, and right now he's maybe about 2 feet or so. This one is actually a half sibling to the male I just showed you. He has a different mother. This mother actually has more pink in her coloration, and so this guy has gotten this really nice pink sheen to him. Another thing you can notice, they have this beautiful iridescence. They're just this nice shiny scales, and just altogether a very beautiful animal to look at. This guy I have currently in a 16-quart tub, and I'm feeding them adult mice, small adult mice. This guy was eating every other week. He'll probably go to every 3 weeks starting in the spring. Right now he's on the winter fasting period for the next month or so. As I mentioned, one of the great things about the Tarahumara boas is if you don't have a lot of space, you can keep a collection in a pretty small space in a rack system. I keep my adult Tarahumaras in a rack system. I use these CB110 under the bed storage tubs to hold them. So these tubs are approximately 21 by 39 inches, and they work pretty well for keeping adult Tarahumara boas. In an upcoming episode, I'll have to show you some of the homemade racks that I make to hold these tubs. The Tarahumara is one of the easier types of boas to keep and breed. In general, they breed very well, and the babies are typically born in the early summer in late June or early July. The litters are small, typically anywhere from around 7 to 15 babies, and babies will typically eat with no problem. Some of the other types of dwarf boas, like the Croaky and the Hog Island boas, I usually have difficulty getting the babies to feed, but I've never had any issues getting my Tarahumara babies to feed spontaneously. I start them off with live fuzzies, and then after a few feedings I can switch them to the freeze-thawed rodents. Because these are dwarf boas, genetically they're programmed to grow very slowly, and it's very important you don't overfeed them. For the babies up to about 2 years of age, I would recommend feeding once every other week an appropriate size rodent, which should leave a barely visible bulge, shouldn't be the largest rodent that the snake could eat. And then from about age 2 to about 4 or 5, when they reach maturity, I feed about once every 3 weeks. And then mature animals will feed about once a month. Typically a medium-sized rat is what I give them. During the winter months from November through February, they're cooled down and they don't feed, and that's when I introduce them for breeding. The last thing that I wanted to touch on is that the taxonomy of the Tarahumara boa is currently under revision. As you know, traditionally, boa constrictor was classified as a species that had something like 8 or 9 different subspecies, and these live from Mexico all the way down to Argentina and South America. However, this was reclassified as at least 2 species in the last few years: boa constrictor, which is South America, and then boa imperator, which is Mexico, Central America, and northwestern South America, including Colombia. So recently there was this paper that came out. This is the lead author is Darren Card. The paper came out in the journal Molecular Phylogenetics and Evolution, and they proposed that there's actually 3 species of boa constrictor. There's boa constrictor in South America, there's boa imperator in southeastern Mexico and Central America, and then there's boa sigma in western Mexico. And this used molecular genetics to look at DNA sequences between boa populations to determine their phylogenetic relationships. So if this classification upholds and is accepted, we'll refer to the Tarahumara boas as boa sigma in the future. In conclusion, the Tarahumara mountain boas are one of my favorite locality boas. If you're looking for an easy to keep boa that you can keep in a small space, the Tarahumara boa might be the perfect snake for you. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, please subscribe to the Brian Boas YouTube channel. As always, I would appreciate any questions or comments that you have down below. Thank you for your attention and enjoy your boas.